Okay, for the first part of this problem, we're going to go through and find the convolution of these two functions f and g of t. So by definition, f convolution g of t is just going to be the integral from 0 to t. And in place of the f, we're going to put in the variable tau. And then in place of the function g of t minus tau, it's going to be e to the 3 times t minus tau, integrating with respect to tau. And again, the result of this is a function of t. So the first step of this, of course, is to go through and rewrite that exponential as the integral from 0 to t of tau e to the 3t times e to the negative 3 tau d tau. And you will notice that the e to the 3t is a constant here because the integral depends on tau. So this is actually e to the 3t times the integral from 0 to t of tau e to the negative 3 tau d tau. And now to find this integral, we need to go through and use integration by parts. And now you'll know why you see my hesitation of using the variable v instead of t's and tau's. So in this integration by parts, we will let the u be tau and the dv be e to the negative 3 tau d tau. Differentiating, du is equal to d tau, and v is negative 1/3 e to the negative 3 tau. Putting this back in, we still have our e to the 3t in front, but that's now multiplied with the result of the integration by parts, which is going to be negative tau over 3 e to the negative 3 tau from 0 to t minus the integral, which is ended up being a plus. So plus the integral from 0 to t of 1/3 e to the negative 3 tau d tau. And again, that whole thing's multiplied by e to the 3t. Well, now if we go through and do this integral back here, that's going to give us a negative 1/9 e to the negative 3 tau. So piecing this all together, we've got e to the 3t times negative tau over 3 e to the negative 3 tau minus 1/9 e to the negative 3 tau. And again, this whole thing evaluated from 0 to t. And so when we finally go through and calculate this, we're going to first replace all of the tau's with t's. So that's negative t over 3 e to the negative 3t minus 1/9 e to the negative 3t. And then we subtract the whole thing with 0. So we subtract 0 in place of tau. So that's going to be just 0 for the first term because 0 divided by 3 is 0. And then plus 1/9 e to the negative 3 times 0, which just makes 1/9. We now multiply everything through by an e to the 3t. In the first term, that's going to cancel out the e to the negative 3t. So we're going to have just negative t over 3 is our first term. In the second term, the 3t's cancel out again. We just get minus 1/9. And then for the last term, we're going to end up with, let's see here, it's going to be a minus 1/9. So let's go back and fix that sign right there. So that minus, of course, makes plus 1/9. And again, we're multiplying the whole thing by e to the 3t, so that e to the 3t shows up right there. And that right there is the result of our convolution of f and g of t. And once again, you will notice this is a function of t that you get for an answer. So the convolution of two functions makes a convolution.